out there? Welcome to a Word Hole Media presentation of Major League A-Holes. I'm Pete.
I'm Ryan. You are in the hole with Major League A-Holes, episode 168.
Yeah, 168.
Yeah. Rivalry week. I always have to say that very slowly because it's actually rivalry weeks. As last week, the Tigers and the Giants faced off. This week, as we speak, the Tigers and Sox are facing off. The Cubs and Tigers are playing this weekend, which is potentially a World Series preview. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, potentially.
We'll see.
My nightmare coming to life.
Yeah, big series this weekend. They're talking about lots of people in downtown Detroit this weekend. We have just finished May, so we're going to go over our Badass of the Month nominees. And we've got an unfortunate asshole of the week that I'll discuss briefly at the end of the show because we don't need to give these fucking assholes the time that we do. But that's what we're here for. So I guess we might as well go ahead and jump into the news. Tigers swept your Giants last week. We haven't recorded in like 2 weeks, so that's been a while a little bit. But that was a tight series. It was like games are all 3-1, or I think 2 of the games are 3-1 and one was 4-3. So it was not a pasting of the Giants by the Tigers, but a sweep nonetheless. The surprising outcome was that Logan Webb gave up 3 runs in his start. So I was kind of surprised by that, and I think that was a 3-1 win for the Tigers. So I don't know if you remember way back then. Did you have thoughts about that series at all?
Well, it's kind of the disturbing trend of the Giants, which was taking shape. I kind of previewed it last podcast, but they've only scored 32 runs over the last 16 games. And if you want to do the quick math, that's an average of 2 runs per game. Now, the reason every game's fucking close is because they have the second best ERA in all of baseball, with 3.03.
Nice.
But
behind the Mets, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. But the offense is gone. The offense that was red hot in April is gone. They lost last night to the Padres in extras.
Yeah. Is your schedule just getting harder? Isn't that a lot of it?
Well, yeah, it is, but they're just not scoring runs.
Yeah.
In fact, it got so bad that a little bit, maybe about an hour and a half ago, they designated Lamonte Wade.
Oh, that was your big prospect that came up last year?
In 2021, when they had that fucking run.
Okay.
He was called Late Night Lamonte because he would always have a big hit late in games. I think he knocked maybe around 20 home runs that year. Didn't have a bad season last year, but he's hitting for shit. They designated him. And, I feel like I suffer from the same thing with both of my teams. It's like they're not getting anyone major to replace them. They're going with that Dominic Smith guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Who was...
he was with the Mets back in the day.
Yeah, he was with the Mets, and then he couldn't break with the Yankees because he wasn't good enough. So his AAA, he decided to basically quit the Yankees, so to speak. He didn't stay with he rostered out of the AAA camp, and so the Giants signed him. But I'm going to just run over some quick fucking numbers here. In AAA, he hit 255 with 8 home runs and 189 plate appearances. That's not going to get the fucking job done on the major league level if that's all you're doing in AAA. So the problem's going to continue to persist unless they really even care to go outside and make some bold move to, jumpstart this offense. So I'm a little surprised the Giants didn't get at least one, because of how tight the games were.
Yeah,
but
it could have, especially the 4-3 game, obviously that could have gone either way, but any of those games could have gone.
But I mean, it's just the same old story with them. They're just not, they're not going to have it to, again, they may squeak in the playoffs, but they'll be gone in the first round, even if they do. So I feel like other divisions are coming on anyway. Like the NL Central probably could very well have 2 playoff teams. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah, Giants are in a bit of a mess right now.
Well, on the opposite side of that coin, the Tigers remain the best team in baseball. by many measures, specifically record. Although every every power rankings I see still has the Dodgers number 1, the Mets like number 2, Tigers usually 3 or 4 on that, but that's fine. Whatever. We'll just have the best record in baseball. They have that best record in baseball despite losing a series to the Guardians about a week and a half ago. They were on the verge of being swept 4 games until Tarik Skubal happened to, who will come up later in our badass of the month discussion, happened to pitch maybe the best Maddox of all time. Are you familiar with the Maddox statistical anomalation?
Is that the 90 pitch game?
Yeah, it's a complete game shutout under 100 pitches.
Pitches, yeah.
So he had the complete game shutout with 94 pitches, but he had 13 strikeouts, which has never been done in a Maddox, and that's remarkable. And that's not, I mean, that's never done typically because, I mean, right there, that's 39 pitches out of the 94 just to get the strikeout. So, I mean, obviously there's more pitches in each of those at bat. So that's a remarkable stat. The best stat of that game was his final pitch of the game was his hardest pitch he's ever thrown in his life. 102.6, I think, to end the game. So that's going to be my precursor to our badass of the month argument when we get to it. But just wanted to throw that out there. In between, after that and the Giant series, Tigers won in Kansas City, 2-1. Another really tight series. I think I don't even know how many runs they scored total. It was like every game was like 2-1 or something. The irony is the only game they lost in that series was when Skubal was pitching. So it doesn't always work out. But now the Tigers are in Chicago, where they will not sweep your White Sox.
That's right.
After last night's, that was a debacle. 8-1 loss to the White Sox after winning 13-1 the night before. The return of Parker Meadows, which is music to my ears and many Tigers fans. He literally took 2 months to come back from a dead nerve in his shoulder, like the worst case scenario. It could have been 2 days or 2 months, and it was 2 months, but he came out of the gate firing, but not nearly as firing as Kerry Carpenter on Monday night.
Fucking shit, man. That dude loves, like, half his home runs are against the White Sox.
I know. 3 home runs in one game. That was fun on multiple levels, as he's also on my fantasy team. I could probably, I'm running away with the home run category. At this point,
I'm fine finishing last. I may just start swapping my team out with guys I just like.
Yeah, I'm doing that, and it's working out. That's why I've got a smile on my face. But, yeah, kind of. It's not inexplicable, I guess. Last night's game, 8-1. That was pitching chaos, where they went with an opener and it was a bullpen game essentially.
Yeah,
just like what they did to a 31-13 record and a playoff series win last year. That formula is not working out this year at all when they've been forced to do it, and for it to not to work out against the White Sox shows there's some serious issues there. The bullpen is not quite what it was. Or they didn't have whatever voodoo magic was working for them last 2 months of last season. So it's a little disconcerting. What's also disconcerting is they're starting a pitcher tonight, Sawyer Gipson-Long. I think that's his name.
Yes.
He hasn't pitched for the Tigers in like almost 2 years. And now they're calling him up to start the game. He's pitched like 16 and a third innings in the minors this year. I think his last start, he did get up to 5 innings, but tonight I'm not expecting a whole lot. And that's a little disturbing considering we just got blown out last night. What's interesting is AJ Hinch announced that Tarik Skubal will not be pitching in this White Sox series. He will be pitching Friday against the Cubs. They pushed him back a day. So that kind of strikes me as a little bit cocky. You know, playing down to your competition almost, or favoring like a bigger matchup, and that I already bit him in the ass last night. So, and yeah, we'll see what goes on tonight. However far Gipson-Long can go, that's, you know, after just burning through the bullpen last night. You hope, I'd say best case scenario, he gets through 4 innings. If he gets through 5, that would be amazing. But I feel like he'll be lucky to get 3 innings. Then we're into the bullpen again, and who knows what's going on. So how is your weather there in Chicago tonight? Is it?
We're clear now. It's
okay.
It's partly sunny, kind of.
Oh, cool.
Sun sort of, in and out through the cloud, but yeah, they'll be able to get it in. It won't be as warm and steamy as the first two nights of the series. It'll be more like in probably the 50s by the time the game ends. But
okay.
Yeah, there's a bit of a chill in the air compared to what we've had in the last couple days.
Yeah, it was muggy here this morning. Then a front just came through this afternoon. It's been raining all day basically, and it's like 20 degrees cooler.
Maybe we should pull up Doppler radar for those of you tuned into YouTube.
Yes. Enough weather talk.
Good news for you tonight is the Sox are opening. They're having an opener tonight. I believe maybe Davis Martin is actually the starter, but the opener, Schuster, has a 6.14 ERA. So all bets are off tonight. I mean, we might have a real barn burner on our hands tonight. We'll see what happens.
I'm gonna predict a big game for Parker Meadows. We'll see after that, but I think he'll be our leadoff batter. That might be another. He didn't do much last night, but his debut this season on Monday was pretty impressive. So
I have the lineups. He is
nice.
He is not playing.
Oh, goddamn. Well, there goes that prediction.
Gleyber Torres is leading off.
Okay. He might be a potential all-star. Gleyber Torres from out of nowhere. The all-star ballots came out today or yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you looked at that. I haven't looked yet.
I never care.
Yeah, it's something we'll talk. I haven't gone over anything. I think we'll talk about it at some. We'll do. I think in the past we've done the all a-holes team.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's fun.
Yeah.
But
okay. All right. Get fired up over there. This is supposed to be fun.
Not the bullshit all-star picks where like you have some guy batting like 100, but like fucking Juan Soto will probably be in the fucking all-star game as a starter.
He'll definitely be a starter.
Yeah. So fuck the all-star game.
All right. Sorry, didn't mean to trigger you right there. Well, I'll get back to the Tigers and Cubs, but since we're bringing up your White Sox, there's always many fascinating things going on with your White Sox. Now, I sent you an outline of things I wanted to talk about with your White Sox.
You sure did.
I'm sure you have others, but if you want to take that list.
Yeah, well, no, let me just start off by saying I'd like to congratulate myself that we were able to beat the Tigers at least once this series.
Congratulations.
Stopping, what was it, like 11 games in a row at you beat us?
Is that what it was? Wow.
Yeah, at home, I believe.
That sounds right. Yeah, I remember a lot of sweeps last year.
Well, I think you were part of the 21 game losing streak that the White Sox went on. You were participants in keeping the foot on the face of the White Sox, the cleat buried in the skull. So it was good. It was nice to see the offense erupt. It was, which they've done more than once this year, which is also nice.
Michael A. Taylor, the only home run.
The only thing they need to do was get that deadbeat Lewis Robert out of the lineup, and it was able to ignite. I'm sure that's what your ASKHOLE question is about.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because you're so predictable. I don't even have to think about it.
I mentioned to you, I don't think I mentioned it in the intro, there will be an ASKHOLE question. Well, I might as well ask it right now.
Ask it right now.
What's wrong with Luis Robert Jr.? And it's a two-part question.
Yeah.
And did the White Sox miss their window to trade him?
Right now, I'd have to answer. Let me answer the second part to that. Yes, it looks like they probably did. That window was the window we talked about 2 weeks ago or whatever when he had.
But we decided they needed to wait.
Well, we did. You did bring up, maybe it was more like 3 weeks ago. You're like, maybe we should try to trade him right now. And I'm like, yeah, maybe it could be. I don't know that anyone's looking right now. As in, what's wrong with him?
Does he not care about baseball?
Does he not care about baseball anymore? Yeah,
I mean, that's like
that's all I can take from it. Is
feels like lazy fan analysis that it seems like he should care and he's trying, but man, it looks bad.
I mean, he still plays the field well. I mean, he was close to robbing one of Kerry Carpenter's home runs, I think, he went
hard after that.
It was jumped up over the wall, but was just out of his reach.
I forgot about that.
I mean,
the effort's there, but
the effort's there in the field. The effort at the plate looks like someone who can't even see the baseball. I mean, is this a situation where they're like, hey, read the eye chart, and no one did, and his vision is bad or something, but like he's not recognizing pitches. All you have to do is throw him like 3 fucking sliders in a row and it's over. It's like
fucking, Javi Baez syndrome.
Yeah, or Joe Boo in fucking Major League.
Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah, all those guys like give him a fastball, but not even now. He's so upside down. I've seen multiple times over the last 2 weeks, pitchers end up pitching a bad pitch, a grooved fucking fastball, and he fouls it off or foul tips it in the glove. He's just not, I don't know what happened. It's obviously not our hitting coach, because what Marcus Timms is able to do with Miguel Vargas, it's a Luis Robert mental issue.
Yeah, and I think blaming the hitting coach is one of the laziest sports arguments
I think so
out
too.
there. Like, they're not hitting; it's got to be the hitting coach. Although the Cubs are famous. Theo is famous for firing every hitting coach they had for 4 years in a row, I think. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Predictably, you knew exactly where I was going with it. By the way, you can always ask me an ASKHOLE question. It hasn't happened in a while. So
there's not really much to ask at the moment. The A's are the A's, and they're not terrible.
Yeah, they're not going to come great, up on this show. But
there's no ASKHOLE questions about the Cubs or the Tigers right now.
Yeah, I could probably come up with a few, but that's a...
Yeah, I mean, probably I could, if I really wanted to dig deep, I could probably find some for the Cubs. Right. But
I just want to leave that door open. I don't.
The door's there. I don't, but I don't like to put it in an outline to you. I like to just drop it on you.
All right, that's fine. I'll be ready. But there's so much more going on with your White Sox than just Luis Roberts' failures.
Yeah, we got. I don't know if everyone remembers. There's this area in the city called the 78, and there was a big announcement with renderings that
South Loop,
the White Sox were going to move in there with this mega complex.
I think that was a year and a half ago. We did a whole thing on it. It was like prior to the season starting. It was glorious renderings on the river right there. Like,
oh my God,
beautiful skyline. They actually the renderings actually turned the stadium so you could actually see the glorious Chicago skyline, as opposed to what currently Rate Field faces. Nothingness, I guess.
Yes. There's a great view of the city on the concourse, though. On the concourse.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
On the concourse.
Yes. They've got like the Chicago script logo right there, and then you can take it's like a photo op. Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
They at least try to fix the issue as best they could. But
so we thought just a year and a half ago, we thought all those issues would be remedied with a kick-ass South Loop stadium for the White Sox. That just seemed like such a win-win, until you realized once again Jerry Reinsdorf would not be interested in paying a fucking dime for it. He just assumed Illinois taxpayers would build him a new stadium like they did in 1991.
Because the team's so good.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Because of the winning culture of the Chicago White Sox.
Great timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been worse. But is the timing better for the Chicago Fire, who apparently are moving to that spot now, isn't it? A similar announcement with renderings and all sorts of things came out this week, saying the Fire are going to develop the 78 space for a soccer-only stadium there. The key difference being that the new owner of said Fire is going to fit the bill. He's going to pay all $650 million, I think they're saying it's going to cost. He's not asking for any taxpayer money. I'm sure he's getting tax breaks similar to the Ricketts family when they renovated Wrigley Field, but they're not asking for taxpayer dollars to pay for this. So I don't know that I'm sure you've read more about it. It doesn't sound like this announcement is much different than the Sox announcement from a year and a half ago. There's nothing set in stone. There's fancy renderings and the plan is out there, but I guess the huge difference is the owner is going to fit the bill. So I would think there'd be a lot less red tape, clearly, and hurdles to cross if the owner's going to pay for it. So this seems a little more plausible, but what does this mean for the White Sox?
Well, I mean, one, I think you got to find stadium where it's at. I'm cool with them not moving.
I kind of agree.
I mean, I didn't.
I go to the Rate. I go to the rate and I don't feel like I'm in a second rate ballpark. Sorry, didn't mean to do that, but I think it's fine. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand.
They've done everything they can to like make it as cool as possible, and I think they did. Compared to where they started with it, all again courtesy of the fucking owner. But I mean, I think Plan B would still remain, and I don't know what it would take and how it would work, but the Bears are most likely the Bears are leaving Soldier Field.
Yeah,
I mean, and because it's not a dome, they're going to need something to supplement that structure outside of just the occasional concert in the summer. There's probably 10, 12 bands that come through every summer that could probably like fill that place.
Like AC/DC did for us on 2 Saturdays ago.
Right, exactly. And Beyonce the weekend before that. But
yeah,
like,
that can't exist. So yeah, I think we should enumerate the potential landing places. Sox stay at 35th and Shields. Sox move to Soldier Field, which I've got questions about that. Or I saw that the White Sox are saying that just because the Fire are moving into the 78, that doesn't necessarily preclude the White Sox from doing the same. I don't know if they're trying to say that there could be 2 stadiums there, or the Fire would change their plan and have a multi-purpose stadium, baseball and soccer. I think the fourth option is they move out to Arlington Heights with the Bears and build 2 stadiums out there because they've got all the land in the world. There's options out there, but Soldier Field, you'd have to tear it down, wouldn't you, to put a baseball field in there? Like you can't just repurpose that. The footprint of that.
So here's what's interesting, and I only know this. You're going to just laugh at me when I say this.
I will.
I only know this because of, I think it's college basketball may do this too. And for the tournaments, some of the tournament games sometimes, and tennis does this at the Miami Open. They convert the Miami Dolphins football stadium into center court.
Oh, wow.
And they actually bring in these movable stands that look like I'm like, is that really the football field? They bring in stands that it looks just like a regular tennis court.
Yeah.
And my thought is you could build a set of stands, so let's just say from that would come in and out for right center to right field, right? That would
the existing Soldier Field?
Yes.
And it's too narrow. It's got it's only, you'd have to widen that stadium by like 50% to make it wide enough for an outfield. The depth isn't the problem. I think it's the width of a football field.
Well, no, because you'd be going from corner to corner.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know. It may not work, but
I'm just thinking. There's all sorts of things. I think that's a pipe dream. I think you'd have to tear it down, build a new stadium, and then Jerry's not going to pay for it, so people aren't going to go for that. But the city is also desperate to do something potentially with Soldier Field, so that's something that's going to be continuing on, like you mentioned, they can't support that space with just a few concerts a year. So that's an issue. The space is fucking annoying. As you and I just experienced going to the AC/DC show, very difficult to get in and out.
Yeah.
So I think that would be, I'd rather go to 35th and Shields for a Sox game than I would to Soldier Field for a Sox game.
I would too.
I think everyone would. I think, even worse than that would be going to Arlington Heights, which I'd probably never go to another Sox game again. Of course, nobody cares because I'm not a Sox fan. But I mean, would you go to Arlington Heights for a Sox game?
Not a lot.
I'm suburban illiterate, but even though I lived in Chicago for 25 years, I still don't know suburbs hardly at all. How would you can take the Metro out to Arlington Heights? Like, how long would that take?
Probably a Metro ride from here to Arlington Heights on the train is probably like 35, 40 minutes.
Okay. I know the western suburbs a bit because our buddy Callahan lives in Western Springs, and that takes me from Union Station. That's about 30 minutes to Western Springs. So Arlington Heights is northwest.
Yeah, so you're gonna hit Arlington Heights before you hit Schaumburg if you're coming from the city. So
it's not
but it's right
outrageous,
around there.
but
no, it's not ideal.
No,
and they'd be on the north side.
I think you could get over that, but
nope.
Okay, all right, I can appreciate that. That's why the 78 was such a perfect solution. If they had to have a new fucking stadium, put it in the South Loop. I think I would go. Certainly, if I was living in the city, I would go to more Sox games than I did. Well, maybe I'd go to the same probably, but it would be a destination if it was in that South Loop, like a fucking cool skyline, brand new stadium. It would work. It's just the fucking Jerry won't pay for it. He wants other people to pay for it. So, boy, it was shocking. I mean, you think about soccer, like Jerry's losing now to a fucking soccer team in the city. Like,
yeah, I think the question too is, does the city want the Chicago Fire to move in there? Are they going to be able to support it? Are they that popular?
I think they would become more popular. They've had a terrible stadium situation for years. They were out in Bridgeview, I think.
Bridgeview.
Back in the day, and they built a facility out there, thinking like they would build up the neighborhood, or the neighborhood would get built up around it, and that never happened. Nobody wanted to go out there. They just moved to Soldier Field, and nobody knows about it. Soccer is growing exponentially. In fact, I went to my first MLS game 1 month ago down in Austin, Texas. I went to a Texas FC or whatever they're called. The stadium there was actually really cool. I think it's very similar to what the Fire are proposing, a soccer only 22,000 seat facility. It's real simple, just a cool time. I think that would bring people, making soccer that much more accessible to people in the city would help the popularity of it as well. I don't know if you remember that, but the Fire were a big deal. They were winning championships like 20 years ago, but they haven't been so great. And then their stadium situation has been a disaster. So I think it could be a big, big deal. And if the owner's putting up his own money to help develop the area, I think it would be equally as positive for the Fire as it would have been for the Sox. So it's just a cool spot, like a weird, undeveloped, square of Chicago that they've been trying to figure out what to do with for decades. And Jerry fucked it up.
Well, we'll see how it plays out, but it's looking like the only pitch that is going to be at the 78 is the field.
Oh, well done, sir.
Yeah!
Well, we are not done talking about that. Would have been a perfect punctuation to our Sox conversation. That was tremendous. But we still have one subject to speak of.
He's still out there.
Yeah, Rick Hahn is lurking. Yes. He's putting his face out there. We were talking, is this 2 shows ago or last show?
Yeah, last show. It just feels like 2 shows ago because we didn't do it last week.
Yeah. Rick Hahn, 2 weeks ago, was briefly on the MLB Network for a 5-minute interview, just full of bombshells that we had to break down. Check that out on our YouTube page at Major League ASKHOLES on YouTube.com. Well, he went on a MLB Network podcast this week and spoke for about 30 minutes. And that was my one lament of the first interview he had. It was only 5 minutes long. I felt like Brian Kenny kept cutting him off because they had to ask a series of questions and there just wasn't much time.
Within 5 minutes and 33 seconds to be exact.
We got a lot of info in those 5+ minutes. So we got a 30-minute podcast. We didn't get a ton of information. I have a few tidbits that I was shocked by the first one of which is Rick is not his name. His real name is Frederick.
Yes.
So technically is Fred Hahn, which I might have to call him from now on.
I like Fred Hahn. With the way everything turned out, he is more of a Fred Hahn.
He is more of a Fred. He's also born and raised a Cubs fan, which I was not aware of. He talked about that at length. He was actually in attendance at the Kerry Wood 20 strikeout game in 97. So yeah, it's kind of shocking that he I'm sure people knew it, but I didn't. I was unaware. In fact, this past April Fool's Day, I posted a thing saying that Rick Hahn had become an assistant GM for the Cubs out of nowhere. And I don't know. I think, did you buy that? I forget if I tricked you on that one.
You kind of tricked me for a second because I forgot what day it was.
But it was a very good graphic. Is mainly why.
It was well done. I was like, what the fuck? Then I forgot it was your handle. There's a series of mistakes that were made by me. Suddenly, like, I'm sitting there after like I like reacted to you, and I was like,
wait a minute.
Wait. Oh shit, it's April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. Oh, wait, that's Smitty.
Got you. But anyway, yeah, he was a Cubs fan. The other, maybe people knew this. I didn't know it. He's only had one job in his life. He's only been employed by one employer his entire life, and that's the Chicago White Sox.
That I did know, yeah.
He was hired out of Harvard Business School, law school, right by Jerry Reinsdorf. Fred admitted that it was a friend, his father's friend is friends with Jerry Reinsdorf, and that's how these big deals work. And Reinsdorf just gave him an opportunity and put him with a scouting squad or something like that, and then he just worked his way up eventually to general manager, so VP and GM. So that was the interesting tidbits, at least, that I came out with it. But the big news is he finally spoke of. I forget who it was. Oh, it's Matt Vasgersian.
Vasgersian. Yeah,
asked him the $100,000 question. What's the worst trade you were involved in? And that was an obvious answer.
Yes, Fernando Tatis Jr. And
I think Rick just started busting out laughing when he asked him the question. So yeah, it's obvious.
I think the best part of it, that this part I never had heard before, was that Tatis wasn't even part of the deal initially. Yeah, they were not even asking for Tatis. We could have got away with giving up 2 fucking pitchers that amounted to nothing.
Yeah, and Rick said he didn't want to give up 2 arms. He was willing to give up 1 arm. I forget the names involved, but he didn't want to go up 2 arms. So they threw in Tatis. Or no, I think after he rejected the 2 pitcher offer.
Yes.
Then San Diego had the wherewithal to pick out Tatis. So, boy, what a moment. It's interesting. It's cool, I guess, that Rick Hahn's so open with this shit and saying everything that we were saying throughout this time. I'm questioning, why are we hearing from Rick Hahn all of a sudden? We're hearing a lot from Rick Hahn with MLB Network. Is he trying to get a job with MLB Network? Is he trying to get his name back out there to become assistant GM of the Cubs, as I made up on April 1st? What's going on here? Why so much Rick Hahn?
I have no idea. I did have like one thought. Is he putting out that book that you and I have been clamoring for, like a tell-all story?
He's already telling us all. Like he's kind of wasting the best moments.
Yeah, that's true.
Podcasts and short interviews on MLB Network. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but what else is he doing with his time? Like, I mean, he's had time to decompress now. Maybe that's why I feel like he's trying to get back in somebody's front office someplace. He's got 20 years experience, 25 years, whatever. I mean, obviously it didn't work out well at the end in Chicago, but you can't say everything. I mean, I like to say everything he touches turned to shit, but that was a bit of hyperbole with the Wrath of Hahn turn of phrase. I would think he would have something to offer to other front offices.
I mean, he was GM of the year. I mean, he's got that under his belt. Like, and again, everyone that they drafted, they picked the right guy. They just, 1, handled the situation wrong, and 2, I don't think anyone would have imagined the amount of injuries these players would have. Maybe they did. I don't know. But I think the Wrath of Hahn, I mean, you could go ahead and play the soundbite. The Wrath of Hahn is still lingering because it's Louis Robert Jr. is the last piece
piece
of Wrath of Hahn, because you can't say Benintendi, because Benintendi's having a fine year. He's hitting for power. He's driving in runs. His batting average is in the, not that batting average matters all that much, but
yeah, please don't.
But it's, it's in the upper twos. Everything's, Benintendi's fine. The Wrath of Hahn exists in, well, one, the way the team is, right, the state of the team as a whole, but Robert Jr. is like the last remaining piece of that, really.
It's not going well.
It's not going well.
I mean, they've got, I think there's his contract, he's got like there's a club option for the next 2 years, $20 million a piece.
Yes.
It's like, they're not going to pay him $20 million next year.
No.
They're not going to be able to trade him at this point. Does he just get DFA'd? I mean, do they just not pick up his option? He's just gone next year. And most likely the Angels will pick him up for whatever, but
I pray to the baseball gods, because they gave him last night off and they're giving him tonight off. And he's been working with, Marcus Timms on his hitting
former Tiger
the last couple days. And hopefully, I mean, he's turned Miguel Vargas into a legitimate MLB hitter.
Yeah.
We know Lewis Robert Jr. was a legitimate MLB
hitter. Fucking MVP candidate.
Yes. So get him back there, man. Whatever. There's something that someone should be able to see on fucking film, unless it is 100% in his head, but they should be able to see it on film that needs to be tweaked, because you don't go from, what do you have the year he was in the MVP race?
38 home runs.
Yeah, 30 fucking home runs. Don't go from 38 home runs to, 5, if that right now? So, yeah, needs to be fucking fixed. So hopefully, I still have there's a little slight glimmer of hope, because there's plenty of time for him, if he can get his head right, to produce the type of numbers that could equal a solid trade for the White Sox. I still think there will be I still think there'll be reservations. So I still don't think
there's a White Sox stink.
Yeah, it's the last remnants of the rebuild. He is the last remaining piece of that puzzle. So,
well, I'm equally as curious about what the next step is for Rick Hahn. What his game plan is. What's going on here? Why we keep hearing from him?
Do you think he sent out resumes and someone was like, "Who? What? Wait, you were?"
It's got to be weird though for him, like only being employed by the White Sox. Never having another job of any sort. Clearly, he wants to be in baseball. Like he's got to be in a weird space. Being fired 2 years ago. Has he been out for? Yeah,
I think he was still under contract though, so maybe he's out now because the dollars.
The paychecks stopped coming in. So that's interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the next chapter is for Rick Hahn.
All right. Well,
that's enough White Sox. As the White Sox always monopolize this podcast, despite their woeful record.
I just want to say to all the listeners out there and viewers that Smitty's kind enough to send the outline. I put the most bullet points for the White Sox on this outline. So it's not even the White Sox fans.
I freely admit I am endlessly fascinated with your Chicago White Sox. They're endlessly fascinating. I just can't explain it. Mostly it's for comedy purposes,
and the Tigers had 2 bullets, and one of them had the word Sox in it. So he can't quit the White Sox. This guy is a closet White Sox fan.
Not a fan. I like to be entertained. They're perfect fodder for a fucking stupid podcast like this. So thank you for creating so much content for us over the years, White Sox. There is a third Tigers bullet point that I failed to mention, but it was just simply the Cubs are coming to Detroit this weekend. I mean, it's potentially the biggest series of the year, at least the way Detroit's playing it up, and Chicago's been talking about it a bit. I was getting emails 2 weeks ago from the Tigers talking about this series, like selling tickets. Apparently, Saturday's game is already standing room only.
Wow.
Friday's game is going to be Skubal pitching, so that's going to be a sellout. And then Sunday is an afternoon game. I don't think that's going to have any trouble selling out. So they're expecting, a 250 million people there, or an eighth of a billion people there over the weekend, 125,000. So it's a big fucking weekend, and I'm gonna throw out there, of course, it could be a World Series preview. Considering
I'm getting nauseous. I may have
to
leave.
I know. It hasn't happened since 1945. It happened in 35 and 45. It can happen again. I would actually kind of feel nauseous about it. I mean, I'd be rooting for my Tigers, of course. But I guess it'd be a win-win. But that would be fucking crazy. I should probably stop talking about it. But considering the Tigers have the best record in all of baseball, Cubs are one game back from the best record in the National League. So, I mean, they're right there. So it's not an outrageous conversation to have, but it's going to be a crazy weekend. The weather's supposed to be fantastic. I got an invite to go Friday night today, last second thing, but I'm hosting a garage sale all weekend.
What?
Yeah, it's
great timing.
I live in a condo association. They only let us do it once a year. So I've had all sorts of stuff piled up that I need to get rid of. So I've been planning this for quite some time. So there will be no baseball in attendance for me, but I will be watching this series. Although it's going to be difficult to watch part of this series. Guess what? Friday night, Apple TV.
I can watch it.
Cubs Tigers. So I'm going to have to resubscribe to Apple TV. I'm going to pay $11 or maybe it's $7 for one
$6.99 I think.
Okay, I can handle that, but it's just fucking annoying. And you'll have to tell me if there's anything else I should be watching for the next month on Apple TV.
Yes,
worth watching.
There are definitely a few things you should. I was just about to say there's a few things you should watch.
Oh, the listeners, yeah.
Yeah, well, we need to know. The Studio with Seth Rogen, hilarious.
I've heard of that.
It's great. Everyone's in it. Martin Scorsese's in it. Like there's cameos galore. It's about Hollywood. The John Hamm one that just finished up, Friends and Neighbors, is
he's fucking, like he's like a rich guy that gets fired and then he starts stealing shit from all his neighbors.
Yeah, and it's way more complicated than that. It was really compelling.
My favorite show of all time is Mad Men, which John Hamm was the key character of that, so I could give that a chance.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great show. So you got those two. I don't know if you're into Ted Lasso. That's pretty good.
I watched the first 2 seasons of that, and the second season
might be too feel good for you.
Awful. Yeah, I lost interest very quickly. But
yeah, but you got at least those two. Studio's only a half hour or less sometimes even.
Well, that's the thing. In the summer, I have no time to watch television. I only watch sports. I watch baseball, and so yeah, it's. I totally forgot about it. I did subscribe to Apple TV for Severance over the winter, which was perfect. And then I think I still had it for like when the season started. I think there was a Tigers or a Cubs game on a Friday night there. I have not looked at the rest of the month of June's Apple TV baseball schedule, so there might be another game I'd be interested in. Although most likely it's the Mets or some shit like that. So yeah, really looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be fucking crazy. So I think with that, we might as well move over to the title of this show, our Badass of the Month.
That's right.
We typically do Badass of the Week. We missed a couple weeks. We had done a few Badasses of the Week, obligatory, because I made up the rule that if you win NL or AL Player of the Week, you have to be our Badass of the Week if you're on the Tigers, Cubs, Sox, Giants, or A's. So we have a few of those actually on our list that we could compile. We have a couple pitchers, a couple batters. We got to talk about how we're doing this. I think last time when we did the Badass of the Month for April, we did a pitcher and a batter.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be one badass to rule them all each month. Like if the pitcher is better, we got to make a choice here. If we're going to do this, do it right. So I think we can decide which of the two pitchers is the batter ass, and then what are the batters. Then we'll decide that, and then put the pitcher versus the batter and decide who is the ultimate badass for May.
All right, it's crazy that this list we have teams that include the NL Pitcher of the Month, the AL Player of the Month, the NL Player of the Month, the AL Rookie of the Month. I mean,
I didn't see about the month. We had the Players of the Week a couple times, but we had
I'm sorry, AL Player of the Week, NL Player of the Week. Sorry, sorry.
And then Rookie of the Month.
Rookie of the Month, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy that
we have good teams.
Yeah, well,
for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that one of the bad teams is actually the AL Player of the Month.
Our whole we have a good representation here. So.
He could be AL fucking Player of the Month with the way he turned it around. But let's get to this list.
You can make your argument.
I guess we'll start. Well, let's just get the pitchers out of the way, but not to say get them out of the way because
come on.
Both of these.
What are we doing here?
Both of these gentlemen. I mean, God.
You had a loss for words for Skubal and Robbie Ray?
Yeah, these stats are gaudy and both in different ways. But I think like Skubal's obviously 2.20 ERA. His whip is a 0.59. That complete game shutout we already discussed, that somehow he struck out. This is like you said, I'm going to reiterate what Smitty said earlier. The unheard of part is 13 batters were struck out and less than 100 pitches were used.
In a complete game shutout, yeah.
It never happens.
It's impossible.
Anytime like a Blake Snell, let's say Blake Snell is struck out like a double-digit guy, he's out in this fucking sixth inning because he's had 100 pitches.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
The best part about that too is it came against the Guardians, who were about to sweep the Tigers, which would have been fucking devastating, losing a 4-game series in a sweep. He was the stopper in that Sunday, and it was so timely. And it whatever the math works out, the Guardians gained two games on him, but for the month they lost 2 games to the Tigers. So just that one win meant so much at that point, because that's the first time really since the Dodgers series that you kind of felt like what the fuck's going on here? Like, do we have a Cleveland problem? Like, this, of all the teams I have a problem with, I could deal with it with the Dodgers because the next time we'll face them would be potentially only in the World Series. We're facing the Guardians a lot. If we can't take care of them, that's a problem going forward. And Skubal answered that emphatically. So not only the performance, but the timing of that performance is almost worth badass of the month just for that one game. But for the whole month, his numbers are just ridiculous.
Yeah, to 59 Ks, 2 walks, 41 innings pitched.
Oh,
not too shabby.
Hold on. 2 walks.
Yeah, 2 walks in a month.
2 walks.
That's
fucking nuts.
Yeah, because you're going to see the exact contrast of that. Robbie Ray may have an ERA that's almost a run lower than Skubal at 1.34.
Robbie Ray won NL Pitcher of the Month for May. So
yes,
that's a remarkable achievement. But yeah, the walks are the big difference right there.
Yeah, his whip is 8.72. That's obviously higher because
it's great, but it's not 0.59.
Yeah, because he walked 11 batters.
Yeah, which is
striking out 45, which is pretty fucking good.
Those are still great numbers, but my God, when you put him next to Skubal's, except for the ERA, wow.
Yeah, 39 innings pitched, so a couple less innings than Skubal, but like the walk, that's even crazier. Skubal pitched only 2 more innings than Robbie Ray. He struck out 14 more batters, which is basically that one game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And walked 9 less batters with 2 extra innings. Crazy.
So I think
I mean, you're not going to get an argument out of me, even though I'm a fucking Giants fan. I mean,
well, you're also a fan of Skubal because you picked him up on your fantasy team. So
for 2 straight years.
Yeah. Well,
it's not helping this year.
2 good years to pick him up. But yeah, unfortunately, the rest of your team sucks for whatever reason.
Be available for trade for some offensive help.
I might have some offensive help for you.
Well,
that's interesting.
I'll be waiting in the shadows for that trade.
Oh, okay. So the fantasy trade market is now open officially.
I have 23 fucking points.
That's some breaking news.
Do something.
That's some breaking news right here.
And I've got some really great starting pitching assets.
There's definitely one that I'm interested in. So yeah, take a look at my roster. I might be able to move some pieces around for that.
All right.
No one else cares. That was our fantasy minute.
Yeah, we inserted perfectly here as
fantasy minute inside badass of the month.
So yeah, Skubal, you won't get any argument out of it.
Okay, so we've determined that Skubal is our badass pitcher of the month. We'll put him up against the badass batter of the month.
Yeah, I mean,
this is quite a list, quite an amazing list.
Yes. So we'll start off. Well, let's start at. I'll start at the. I'm going to work my way up on this.
Yeah,
one.
I don't remember what order I put him in, but
so we'll go with Jacob Wilson, who was the AL Rookie of the Month.
Yeah, he's part of my fantasy team actually that I picked up just because he was he was I believe a former lug nut. He just hits. He doesn't strike out. He doesn't walk. He just hits.
Yeah, 4 homers, 15 runs, 16 RBIs, 975 OPS. Not too shabby for a rookie.
That's what's interesting. The counting stats are kind of low, but his OPS blows everybody else out of the water on this list at least. So he's the only one in the 900s, I think. So
he is the only one in the 900s. Riley Green. I've watched this guy in game 1 against the White Sox almost make 2 spectacular catches, but
he made
one missed catch saved it from leaving the ballpark.
That was like it was like almost like a NBA center, like goaltending, like knocking it back into the park. And then he had that crazy catch in the corners, like sliding through the dirt. Yeah, they couldn't see it. At least the broadcast I was watching, the Detroit feed, it was kind of obscure. They didn't know if he caught it right away because it was like so deep in that corner. They couldn't see it from the booth. And like, oh my God, he caught it.
Yeah, it was I couldn't tell either at first. It was only on the replay.
Okay.
I wonder if they were using the same feed or not.
I bet you they do. They probably help each other out for like the smaller networks, unless it's a national game.
But he had 7 home runs, 15 runs, 24 ribby, 894 OPS. So knocking on the 900 and 1 stolen base.
Yeah, I had to throw that in there. It wasn't too impressive, but I was throwing in other people's stolen bases.
NL Player of the Week earlier this month. Oh no, last month.
In May,
in June now. Yeah, we're in June now. Pete, calendar turned. Suzuki, 7 homers, 16 runs, 27 RBI, 879 OPS. Not too shabby.
We have not talked about Seiya Suzuki. I don't think I brought him up once this season.
And he is having fucking the season you thought he was going to have.
He's tied for the major league lead in RBI.
Yeah.
He's tied with Rafael Devers. Like the quietest MVP caliber season you've ever heard of. Like you hear about Kyle Tucker, obviously PCA, who's we're going to speak of in a minute here. You just never talk about, at least I don't talk about Seiya Suzuki. So that is a failure on my part that he's gotten this deep into the season. We're 2 months into the season. We're just now bringing up Suzuki, and fucking A, he's a great candidate for badass of the month.
Yeah. No, he could end up being, I mean, shit, he could be a badass of the year. Who knows?
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we will. Speaking of great goofy seasons, Miguel Vargas, April 23rd, had a OPS of probably 530. Let's look at his numbers over the past month. Miguel Vargas, 7 home runs, 15 runs, 17 RBI, 899 OPS, and AL Player of the Week.
Yeah.
On a fucking team with 19 wins, which I might say are 4 more wins than they had at this point last year. So we got that going for us.
Yeah. Definitely had to have him on the list. He won AL Player of the Week, so you're automatically on the badass of the month list. So. And then the RBI and run totals aren't quite up to others, but his OPS is right there. With our others on the list. This is a tough fucking list, though.
But if you're looking for disgusting run and RBI totals, we look no further than Pete Crow-Armstrong.
Some refer to him as MVP. Or
that's what they call me too.
You could be MVP. You're certainly MVP of this podcast, but.
You're gonna make me cry over here.
Well, there's only one Pete of this podcast. You were the MVP. There's also MVPCA. I've seen T-shirts for that.
Do you realize MVP is just my actual initials? Because I am
Michael Vanieri.
Peter Michael
oh my
Vanieri.
God, that's how you need to introduce yourself on every podcast from now on. I'm MVP.
All right, that's it. I am. It's done. Consider it done.
That's tremendous. Yeah, let's not forget this. Mark the tape there.
Oh, I never forget anything. Oh, wait. No, I forgot. We have a segment
Shit
at the end
MVP
of the
forgot.
That's right. But PCA, 9 homers, 20 runs, 29 RBI, 888 OPS because of the amount of strikeouts he has.
Yeah.
5 stolen bases, which seems down for him, but
yeah, it's a big drop off from April, but it's because he was hitting so many fucking doubles and home runs. He didn't have a chance to steal.
Yeah.
MVP. Boy, it's surprising that his OPS numbers aren't better. But yeah, it's the strikeouts, I guess. But everything else makes him my badass of the month. But was there anyone else on? That was the end of the list, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the end of the list. I mean, I just don't see anyone else who, like, Suzuki's close in RBI, but not in. Suzuki's kind of close, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a really the 9, almost 10 homers in the runs, and the runs are really, a lot of it has to do with because he can go first to home on a fucking routine ball.
Last night he had a double and then stole third base, and then there was a ground ball to third base. Did you see this?
No.
Ground ball to third base, and he's like faking going home, and it totally brain freezes the third baseman. And third baseman has an easy throw to first to get the guy out, but PCA just puts this mind fuck on him, keeps faking that he's going to go home, and he just dives back to third base in time for the guy to run to first base. And I don't think it's technically a fielder's choice because there's no out recorded. So it's like an infield single.
Yeah.
It's a terrible decision by the third baseman because he couldn't understand what to do with PCA. The irony, and they were just talking about this on Spiegel and Holmes before we went on the air this afternoon. They were talking about the similarities between PCA and Javi Baez, like how he could just turn fielders' minds into mush, like the famous play in Pittsburgh where he had a ground ball to first and tricked the first baseman into not just taking the force out and stepping on first, ran back home, allowing a run to score, then an error from a throw to first to get Javi out where he was able to advance to second. That's where El Mago gets his name. So the irony of PCA having a similar type persona that just turns fielders' minds into mush, and they were traded for each other.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part. So it's amazing. I saw that last night. I'm like, this is the white El Mago, I guess. Like, I don't know what PC or the oh shit, what's the redhead? Ginger El Mago. That's PCA. Maybe that's his, instead of MVP or MVPCA, it's Ginger El Mago. So I've got to give PCA at least for our badass of the month. Are you on board with that?
I'm on board with that too.
So where do we go? Mano a mano. We have to make it. I just decided we need to make a fucking choice. Stand up, be men, make a choice. Don't cut the baby in half.
Okay, Schifrin.
We need to decide. Is it Skubal or PCA to be our badass of the month for May?
Two choices for me that I really am excited about.
Yeah, this is not good for you, but it's difficult for me.
I'm looking over the numbers one last time. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Skubal. Not just because he's on my fantasy team, but because there were guys, we had a lot of offensive players to choose from, but only 2 pitchers. Yep. And I think the rarity of that, and, people were near PCA's numbers, but Robbie Ray really isn't, outside of the ERA thing, the numbers are landslided for Skubal. That's
what's amazing. Yeah, I think that's a good point because PCA is superior. I think it was fairly easy to decide that, but not by a landslide the way Skubal was over the NL pitcher of the month.
Yes,
Robbie Ray was. To see that disparity is remarkable and worthy of badass of the month. I didn't want to give you this power before you made your choice, but I was going to go with whichever one you were going to decide.
Miguel Vargas is the badass of the month.
We may have had a debate at that point. But, yeah. So yeah, I'm happy to go with Skubal. I'm glad you're now a Tigers fan, huge Skubal fan. Your jersey's coming in the mail.
Oh, sweet.
The
Yeah.
Old English D, you'll probably wear, I'm sure. So
Yeah. Get that over to me. Maybe I'll show up tomorrow afternoon if you can get it to me in time.
All right. Are you going to a Sox game this week?
No.
Okay. And you tricked me right there. But
No.
all right. Well, okay. Congratulations, Tarik Skubal. You are a badass of the month for the month of May. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I guess it's time for our signature segment.
Yeah, real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it is our namesake and it is our flagship segment, Asshole of the Month or Asshole of the Week. We highlight some of the worst people in the world, and one of the worst types of people in the world are social media keyboard warriors that not only threaten professional athletes, they threaten professional athletes' children on social media. And that's what happened this week. The Athletic reported that Lance McCullers, after an abysmal performance.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. I think it was May 10th where he faced 8 batters, only recorded 1 out, gave up 7 runs. Just awful. But it happens. Some asshole on social media, I never found out if it was Twitter or if it was Instagram or what it was, but threatened Lance McCullers, a death threat. But not only that, he threatened Lance McCullers' children. This poster said he would stab his children to death if they were to find each other in public. What the fuck are you doing? Apparently this was an enraged bettor who had money on the Astros game. But not only that, he was overseas.
Yes, he's overseas.
They won't say where he's at. I have no idea where he'd be, if he's an American living abroad or if he's a European that was really into the Astros. I don't know what it was, but just fucking disgusting. I have questions about many aspects of this. Number one, I'm not a gambler, but how do you bet on baseball? That was part of my Pete Rose argument. Like, how do you, unless you can control the fucking outcome of the game, how do you bet on baseball? Like, the fucking White Sox just beat the Tigers last night, 8-1. Who had that? The fucking Dodgers have lost like 25 games this year. I didn't think they would lose 25 games all year. Like, baseball's just fucking crazy. How do you bet on it? So
all betting's a guess, right?
Well, I think it seems like baseball is the worst of all bets, but I don't know. That's the first thing. But.
Yeah, let me just jump in real quick on that.
Okay,
so
you're a bettor.
It seems the worst of all bets because it happens every fucking day. Where football doesn't feel as bad because it happens once a week, right? Or there's multiple days football occurs, but it's still just that team playing their game that week. So that's where baseball becomes a bit of a, enigma. But
if there's that many games, that many different ways to bet on baseball, like how do you get this upset to a homicidal level?
Oh, you shouldn't.
Over one baseball game.
Well, you're betting with money you probably don't have.
Well, that's the other part of it.
And you're trying to use it to live.
Well, this enraged overseas bettor was also inebriated, as he's admitted. This is the weird part of the story. I don't even know how they found the guy or if he just literally is posting under his real name. And there are officially no charges against him, but this has become a story that The Athletic is reporting. I feel like this probably happens a lot more than is reported on. I feel like, idiot, degenerate, drunk gamblers are threatening athletes all over the place. But this is a particular story that came to light. So I wanted to make sure we made him asshole of the week. I don't know. I'm just so disgusted and confused by all of it. How they found the guy. I mean, this is only 3 weeks ago. They found him, but there's no charges. So I'm not exactly sure who found him besides The Athletic. This guy's issued an apology, which is hilarious. Oh, I apologize for threatening to murder your children. Oh, sorry about that. My bad. Yeah, I was a little bit tipsy. Like, what the fuck? The saddest part is, Lance McCullers certainly wasn't happy about giving up 7 runs and only getting 1 out. And then he's dealing with this shit on social media. And he said it was just really disturbing when his kids are involved, which is very understandable. It's something that no one should deal with. I guess my last question is, why the fuck is any athlete on social media? Like, why would you, or if you're on social media to promote whatever you want to promote, why would you enable comments or look at the comments? I don't know why you'd open yourself up to degenerate shitholes like this. I mean, this is easily controllable. Years ago, I had to shut down comments on our YouTube channel because of the disgusting shit we were getting over a Trevor Bauer segment we did.
Yes.
Who's back in the news. I think he was exonerated, or not exonerated, but whatever settlement he had to give to the woman involved. He had to give, she had to give back because she talked about the settlement as they had a non-disclosure agreement. So now all the disgusting shitheads, Trevor Bauer fans, date rapists, defending his right to date rape are coming out of the woodwork, saying that he's innocent. Well, that's not the case. She just talked about the settlement, and you're not supposed to talk about the settlement. So I heard that literally on the radio today. Somebody brought that up, saying he was innocent and the Tigers should pick him up. Like, that's not how this works, you shithead. So sorry, I just got off on another asshole tangent there. But so I just, so many more questions than answers with this. And I probably already talked about it too long, but anonymous, overseas, overserved, bettor, you are a fucking asshole.
Let me ask you a question before we leave this segment and end the show, because this is something you were part of.
Okay.
What is worse, the inebriated bettor on social media threatening your family, or a guy at a White Sox game who hates Sammy Sosa threatening him in person at the game? Which is worse?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what that guy said. I made up many quotes that aren't accurate about what that guy.
I swear he threatened to kill his family at one point. I'm serious.
I thought that's what it was, but I think I may have made that up. That this was, of course, the Mark Burley no hitter, not a perfect game because Sammy Sosa took a walk.
Yeah, which is shocking in itself.
Yeah, that was everything about that night is amazing. Could not have predicted. So, I'd say threatening children of athletes in any forum is
bad,
worthy of asshole of the week.
Okay.
If you do it on social media and you're not using a burner account of some sort, you're just a fucking idiot. You're disgusting on multiple levels. So it's all shit. I wonder what that guy's doing. You think he's still a Sox season ticket holder, or is he expired?
Who even knows if he was a Sox season ticket holder? Because I never saw that guy again.
Oh, I thought he was always sitting behind us.
No. You're thinking of.
I'm thinking of a different guy.
You're thinking of angry guy at the end of the row.
That's what I'm conflating stories. I've conflated those stories for years, I guess.
The guy who ripped his shirt that time out of
he had
anger.
he ripped his it was like a parka, not a parka, like a rainbreaker or something.
The poncho, yeah.
The poncho, yeah. He just tore it off in disgust. Yeah, I forgot. It was different people that were threatening Sammy Sosa's children.
Yeah, a rando who made its way into the fancy seats that night.
I've never seen that before at Sox Park.
No, never happens. Shocker.
Well, on that note, I think we can wrap up this episode 168. And unless there's anything MV Pete forgot.
MV Pete did not forget anything, but he would like to let you know before we get off that I just got an alert that there must be drizzling outside or something, but the start of the Detroit White Sox game is slightly delayed, which is playing well into our hands.
I thought this is perfect. But I thought your Doppler radar skills were better than this. You predicted no issues.
I'll tell you what, Smitty, I looked at Doppler radar and they said the storms were going to clear out by 6 p.m. It is now 6:30.
Well, equally good or bad news. Cubs are tied 0-0 with the Nationals in the fourth inning. So
they're not winning yet. They suck.
They're not winning, but I have missed nothing to record this podcast. So I have sacrificed little other than my time and gained a lot. You've gained a nickname. You're already referring to yourself in the third person with a nickname. This is a tremendous episode, a momentous episode, 168.
Yeah, it looks like this game might be delayed for a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, instead of the storms like passing over, they're just kind of running in a straight line up. So that sucks.
I'm going to blame Rick Hahn for that. So
that
somehow,
fucker. That
Wrath
fucker.
of Hahn strikes again.
That fucker.
Well, let's wrap this up. You can find us on social media where we will not be threatening athletes' children at Major League A-Holes and at Sox Type Thing on X. You can find us on our YouTube channel. Got a bunch of new subscribers last week, so check that out at Major League A-Holes at youtube.com. You can find us on the web at majorleagueaholes.com, and you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I'm going to declare this podcast is over. Peace.
Peace.
Word Hole Media.